G'day, Paul here. This is a continuation of the previous video I made on how to build a small garden retaining wall without using cement mortar. And what I'm using is just an ordinary silicone, an all-purpose silicone. Get it at the hardware store. It's about $8 a tube, and this little wall probably take about 4 tubes. So for 25 bucks I've got enough adhesive. Now, first of all, you've got to dig a little trench, and about the width of your brick, and then work out which bricks you're going to put in the bottom. I just picked the dirty ones because I don't have to clean them too much when they're down in the dirt. Then I'm using ordinary coarse sand as a base. Sprinkle it in there, keeping it fairly thin, but it's just to give it a smooth base to sit on. It brings the brick up to the height just a quarter inch above the concrete, like it is most of the way along the drive, and make sure it's a bit level. See, it's a bit down at the back there, so you put a bit more sand at the back until you get it right. And then using the silicone, where the bricks are touching each other and where the bricks touch the concrete, just put a little dab of glue, not too much. A little dab of glue in there and a little dab on the corner. You don't need a lot, it's just to steady them down and hold them in place. And you can always push a bit of sand in underneath if it didn't get level. And so there it is. You can put a bit of extra in there if you want to afterwards. Just squeeze a bit down the centre there, or down the front. Give it a bit of a fill. Okay, so then you choose a brick for the next layer, and again put a bit of glue on where it's going to touch the other brick, and a little dab here. And you need a lot. The weight of the brick's going to hold it in place. This will solidify everything, and then that goes into the position there. And then you always look above the brick. Just make sure that it's lined up and level, not going to lean. You can put a bit more glue if you think it's necessary down that crack. And so it goes on. It's a very simple process. This one is going to go on that corner, just a dab there, steady it, little dab here, not a big problem. And one brick after another, the wall comes into shape, but always look over the top and line them up so they're nice and level. Now as we're coming around the curve, this little gap in between the bricks does widen up a bit, but you don't have to fill it all, just at the back where they touch put a bit of silicone. So now we'll go back and continue the wall further down this end. It's simple, it's easy, it's quick, and so long as you start on that flat base of sand, it'll work out fine in the finish. Shift the camera back so you can see what we're doing here. No specialty tools needed. I use a flat trowel to pad down the sand at the bottom. I use a wire brush to give the bricks a bit of a brush, get the excess dirt off them. Simple enough. Sometimes I'll use a trowel just to push the silicone into the groove a little bit deeper, but that's not really essential. You use a knife for that if you want to. And of course you'll need a little gun for the silicone tubes. And they're pretty cheap at the hardware, so it's not going to cost you a lot. But it's important you get the right size bricks, and I've found these bricks at the dump. They were pretty cheap, but they're a hard finish. They're not porous, nice hard finish, so you can put the silicone on them. Now this one has got a bit of a burn in the kiln, but it's quite a feature. I'm going to put a bit of glue on the end there, just on that corner to start with, and a little bit underneath. If the silicone is not coming out of the tube fast, you can cut the end of the tube off and make it the hole bigger. So that's going in there like that, laying that on top. Not sure if you can see that or not, but so as that goes on there, you look over the top, make sure they're nice and straight up and down, vertical, bit more glue in the middle, and so you go. What have we got here? Another second rate one to put on underneath the top. You keep your best bricks for the top. This one will be fine there, a little bit of glue on the corner here, and more underneath. Make sure you put a bit each end, especially because in the middle it's going to sit over a cavity. It doesn't need glue there, but you want to bind it one brick to the other as you're lining them up. So looking over the top again, bringing it round nice and steady. A little bit of glue in the middle there if you want to, it doesn't have to. And so we go. Now you pick out a nice brick that's got a good clean surface, nice for the top, and we're going to put that one, put a bit more, because this is a straight run down there, you can have a bit more glue in there, and then a few dabs here to steady it, because you get people wanting to walk on walls, and little kids love to walk along the wall, so if it's got a bit of glue it'll steady it. So you just line it up there, make sure it starts to, this is where the bend in the wall started, so there is a gap there. It has a little bit of touch. And then in that situation I'll get the trowel and just push that glue down into the corner nicely. That don't look too bad. Okay. Then we choose another nice clean brick, because it's going to be on the top of the wall. There's one here, and this is going next. Put a dab of glue on one end, like that, and then underneath a bit more. Steady this brick from sliding or moving, especially if children walk along it. And put that there, nice and level, looking over the top, making sure that it's vertical, and that's how it goes. It's a simple process, but you end up with a very attractive garden wall, and then we'll put some nice soil in behind it and put some pansies or violas or nice colourful flowers down there. It'll be a lovely wall when we're finished, and doesn't take a lot of effort really. I like to sit down on the job because I can't bend over too well, but that's because I'm 76. Getting a little bit ancient. Okay, well, we'll keep progressing. Get some more bricks. Now when I started this wall, I did this straight edge first, and when you do a straight edge, either put a string line along or a straight edge like a spirit level or something, and then you work on getting a corner right. And I'm following the concrete along here. But always alternate, put one brick covers a joint, so make sure that the top brick covers that joint. And as you can see there, then this brick covers that joint, so you've got this nice brick effect, and that'll also strengthen it, and it'll become a nice little flower garden eventually. See, these are other walls that I've done last year or the year before. Just delineates between the lawn and the flower gardens. And then over here we've got more brick walls under the tank garden. It's an old tank that started to leak, so we turned it into a garden, cut it in half and put it up on these little brick walls. And here's more here showing the garden walls built with silicone instead of cement, and they've lasted many years. I started this one many years ago and it's still there, doesn't fall down. And over here you got the lovely garden flowers.